we finally have some clear rankings on how the competitors are doing in this competition. All as the game is flipped on them, as the teams are completely redone. I'm gonna break it all down for you right now. It's time to do some shock talk. So you may notice I'm doing 2 episodes at once. Things got a little crazy. We had somebody pass away in the family and some other craziness that's going on. So I decided to lump episodes 4 and 5 together. I know it's probably releasing as episode 6 is rolling around, so I'm playing a little bit of catch up, but I promise from here on out. That being said, there's a lot going on in these 2 episodes, so let's talk. Episode 4 was called Don't Fork It Up, and they're being tested on creativity this week. But first, in the lounge, David is running his mouth against John for some reason. He's jumping down John's throat for not standing out in the competition yet, but David hasn't exactly pulled out mind-blowing work either, so this seems really bizarre. Especially because between the 2, I think John's doing much better. I do love, though, that Jenna is right in between them, and she keeps her mouth completely shut because Jenna is having a tough time. Anyway, after that, we go right to a flash challenge. And in the spirit of Creativity Week, they have to create sculptures completely out of welded silverware, just as tattooers often do. But of course, it's just part of making the game fun. So, right out the gate, Team Nico is struggling because it's just Brian and Freddie. And Freddie doesn't have a lot of confidence in Brian's ability to be creative. And I'd say, based on what we've seen so far, rightfully so. Again, all of these people are great artists. I couldn't do what they do at all. But comparatively with the others, Brian, and from the get-go, has seemed bottom of the barrel especially in terms of creativity, and seems to be somehow skating by anyway. Both Team DJ and Team Ryan both want to do a peacock. I don't know why this keeps happening in these flash challenges. Thankfully, DJ hates the idea and coaches them into doing something different. So then Charlene suggests a swan, which feels kind of like the same problem, but I guess it's not quite as ornate. And of course, per usual, Jazzy is upset. She just seems angry all the time. She's second guessing the advice. She's not listening, but how it all turned out is actually quite interesting. So Team Nico, which is Brian and Freddie, did this absolutely unreadable half skull melting into the table. If you really stare at it for a long time, you can kind of see where the skull is, but it's really rough to read. Team Ryan did the peacock, and actually, who knew? Team Ryan, this was phenomenal. It looks fantastic, like a real bird made out of metal, and it's amazing. Team DJ did a swan. It's also amazing. Not quite as, flashy, and I would say not quite as creative, but it looks great. That doesn't stop Freddie from reading it completely down to the floor. For those not in the LGBT community like Freddie and myself, reading is when you kind of insult someone or something in like a fun, sarcastic way, cultural thing. So now as the judges are trying to pick a winner, they're kind of fighting over it. The coaches are now kind of really getting into the game a little bit. Ryan finally votes for her own team. Nico votes for Team DJ, but both DJ and Joel vote for Team Ryan. So Team Ryan wins. They get to assign all of the skulls. Big win for Team Ryan, which brings us to the elimination tattoo. Again, in the vein of creativity, they're told that they have to do hybrid beasts, 2 different animals into one believable creature, and in full color. Immediately, Jazzy is having a heart attack. But again, Jazzy, what did you think was going to happen? Again, she's freaking out. She's like, I haven't done color in 8 years. What am I going to do? Were you going to just try and skip color the whole competition? I don't understand. Oh, but it's not just her. Jazzy, David, Brian, all freaking out. This bothers me so much. This is season 15. I get some styles not being your preferred style. I get some things just being a little more difficult for you than other things. And again, not a tattooer, no idea how to do it myself. But if I was going to choose to be on a show called Ink Master, where they have 15 seasons of people doing full color tattoos all the time, maybe in preparation for going to said show, I might practice coloring in some freaking tattoos, especially if I haven't done it in 8 years. But I digress. So Team Ryan talks. They decide that for the most part, they're going after Team DJ. It has the most members. It seems to be the most powerful group of people so far. It makes sense to shoot at them. However, they actively decide that they don't want to touch Team Nico, which is Brian and Freddie. For the most part, have been very respectful to them, haven't messed with them, and they have no issues with them. And I also think part of that is Freddie gets along, I think, with Jenna and some of the other people. So there's an attempted alliance happening, but it falls apart real quick because Team Ryan allows Jenna to assign the skulls, which was really pleasing, actually. Like, listening to her talk to the canvases and stuff, like, I could listen to Jenna read a phone book. Like, I love her accent. She's just so wonderfully spoken. It's great. But she can't remember what everybody wanted. So she goes through the whole thing, hands out the skulls, and then she realizes that we've messed up the skulls. Which, to be fair, and I say this all the time, I don't know how they go through and remember who to give everybody what, especially in the very beginning when there's like 15 people. I could not do that. If I was on a team and we're handing out skulls, I would be like, this is what I think we should do, but somebody else try and remember it. So I feel for her. But also, maybe Jozzy should have gone up there or something. So they mess up some of the skull picks. So some of the targets ended up going to Freddie and Brian. So now it looks like they were targeting their friends. Anyway, I loved the walkthrough, like seeing the, concepts and stuff coming together, watching the judges kind of smile as like they saw what people are putting out. It's a really cool challenge. I loved that DJ said that sharks are he said nemesises. It's nemesis. I'm going to be that person. But either way, it's nice to know that he has a weak spot. Jenna also says she didn't have enough time to fully render an image. And so she's making the tattoo up partially as she's tattooing it. But she had the same amount of time as everybody else. And again, season 15. We know how this works. Why are we surprised that we may have to draw a little fast? I don't know. And then Jozzy is freaking out again. Even though, as she's going, it doesn't really look like she's doing bad. But she does this thing where, she can't hold back. She does too much of everything. So we'll see. Which brings us to critiques. So Bobby did this cool snake fox tattoo. It's really cool. I am seeing that this yellow gold shade is like his favorite or his signature or something. He's putting it everywhere. But it's pretty rad. John did this cool shark spider, which looks awesome. It could be like a kaiju nightmare of some sort. It's amazing. Freddie did a gator eagle. Woof. This is a miss. And I know it's because he had a really difficult canvas, who wanted it to be traditional, which I also, to be a canvas and to be difficult on this show, I don't know. It's a free tattoo. You're on TV. Let them tattoo what the hell they want. And if you're not cool with that, go schedule your tattoo somewhere else. That being said, he should be able to do a traditional tattoo. Again, season 15. So this was a miss for Freddie. David did this cool like baboon bird thing, which was cool, but also kind of meh, but I didn't hate it. Sydney did a phoenix werewolf, supposedly. What? Not a good week for Sydney. Charlene did a bull eagle, which at first glance, I thought it was really cool, but I do agree with the critiques about the outside of the wings and the inside of the wings being accidentally inverted. And so they look a little wrong, but otherwise I thought it was cool. Brian did a tiger shark. Get out. It's definitely not the worst thing I've ever seen. It seemed like the canvas was pretty happy with it. But on Creativity Day, I don't know. Jozzy did a hippo snail, which sounds adorable. I love it. And this is adorable. I loved it. Great job, Jozzy. I do agree that it's dark because she can't help herself. And I agree with the critiques she got. But for being as worried as she was, this was great. Jenna did a raccoon moth. I definitely think it's cute. I think they dragged her a little hard for it, but I do think it loses texture. It's a little flat, especially toward the bottom for me, but I don't know. It could have definitely been worse. I didn't think it was bad. So tattoo of the day, the judges vote, and it goes to Bobby. And I can't argue with that. It was a pretty clean, pretty well done tattoo. And I think nailed Creativity Day. Now, here's where things get a little interesting. So the bottom three are Jenna, Sydney, and Jazzy. For the most part, who we would expect based on the critiques. Interesting, though. Jenna doesn't put up much of a fight. Jenna just seems defeated. It's like she knows she's out, like she's been struggling. Now she does this tattoo. She feels like she's on the way out. You can see it on her. And so, of course, the judges, vote on who's going to go home. And everybody in the bottom gets one vote each, which means that Ryan Ashley has, like, her vote decides who goes home. Especially after dragging Sydney's, I was really surprised because Ryan decides to send Jenna home, who's not only someone she knows and has collaborated with, and supposedly Jenna's actually influenced Ryan's work, not the other way around, and after defending what Jenna did, still sends her home. It was really weird, to the point where I thought maybe behind the scenes Jenna had somehow asked to go home. Something just didn't feel right. But no, because Jenna talks about this in a YouTube video, and I'm going to reference it at the end of this video when it's all said and done, when I talk about a little bit about the No More Ink videos, because there's not one for Jenna, but I do agree she was struggling, and no matter how or why it happened, if it wasn't this episode, it was probably going to be soon. Episode 5, Teams Transformed, and it's the Ingenuity Challenge. So everybody walks in, the teams are obviously changing, like that's obviously what the twist is going to be, and Joel confirms that just in time, because especially Team Ryan, they're not on good spirits with each other right now. This time though, the judges will choose teams and not the contestants. There's no flash challenge, we're going right into the elimination tattoo because that's how we're deciding the new teams. So everybody's tasked with doing transforming tattoos. So using ingenuity to make one tattoo that can move, change into something else, do something fun. It has to transform. I do want to say the prompt was that it has to completely change. I think one person did that. Everybody else flubbed it. Coaches can't help, and judging will be blind, as the rest of the competition probably should be also. The judges will each choose one person blindly from the tattoos presented during critiques to put one person each on their teams. Everybody else will be considered the bottom 4 and will have to compete in a face-off tattoo to get remaining spots on the teams. Canvases are chosen in reverse order from the rankings from the first elimination tattoo, which is a good day for Brian because he came in 12th that day. It also means Bobby will be last, getting whoever is left. Freddie gets to choose second to last, so he gets to choose between two canvases, and I love that he does like an interview with them, and he like pleads his case. He kind of does like a, would I be a good fit for you because I need you to be a good fit for me kind of thing, which is really smart and cool that they let him do that. And he gets a canvas who's pretty easygoing as a result, and it pays off for him. So let's go to critiques because we do have a face-off tattoo. There's a lot to talk about, so let's just go to critiques. Yeah. So Freddy's was up first that they're blind judging, and I love it. It is obviously Freddy's. Everybody can tell it's Freddy's. The judges all know it's Freddy's. So kind of takes the blind piece out of it because his style is so distinct. But it's an amazing tattoo, and it truly transforms. It perfectly lines up when it's one way and then transforms into this amazing piece. 2 separate blossoms when the arm is outstretched. It's amazingly done. I wish I had it. What a jackpot for that canvas. Next was John, who did this mermaid thing, which is a great tattoo. It looks really awesome. At face value as a regular tattoo, this would smash. But it doesn't do anything. It's supposed to transform. It doesn't do anything. It's supposed to move its tail, I guess, which to me, 1, yeah, it moves. I wouldn't say it transforms. B, it doesn't even move. It just kind of scrunches up like it would any other tattoo. It doesn't do anything. Next was Bobby's. I have a similar problem with it to John's, where it doesn't really transform. It just kind of moves. Her legs are up and then her legs are down, which is cool. That being said, it is really nicely done, and it does match the movement that the canvas is doing. I like that when she lifts her leg in the same position, the pinup's legs are in the same position. That's pretty cool. Next was Jazzy's. I think it's a cool idea. At least parts of this tattoo are, but for the most part, it's a freaking mess, especially when it transforms. It's a mess. This was such a miss. There was Sydney's next, and I gotta say, they shredded this a little bit. But I thought it was really cool. I really liked the concept behind this. And I actually think, for the most part, in terms of transformation, she's maybe one of two people who I think actually hit the prompt. I don't think she totally got it there. It wasn't as well done as Freddy's, but I think this was fine. Charlene was up next. She did the flamingo piñata. They dragged this tattoo also, and I understand why. I can't say I disagree with the critiques it got, but I think it's so cute. And I love it. And I think it counts as a transformation. It's not as transformative as I would like it and all that good stuff. But I think it's cool. And it's definitely better than some of the other ones we got. David's was after that. And I got to say, I didn't hate it. I actually thought it was a really cool idea. And after not really loving one way or the other what David's bringing, I loved seeing actually this being more creative. But it does get messy in some parts. So I don't love it. Then we have Brian's, who has this Venus flytrap one. What the hell is this? This looks crazy. It's colored crazy. It doesn't transform. It does nothing. And he's the one that got to choose first. He could have done any of them. Why is he here? So it's time for them to choose blindly. Nico has to choose first because he had the least amount of people on his team, then Ryan, then DJ because DJ had the most. So Nico chooses Freddy. And again, everybody knew which one was Freddy's. So, he picked it for a reason. We didn't do tattoo of the day, but I would kind of consider this to be that. He clearly chose the person who did an actual transformation, did it the best, and clearly showed the most skill in this challenge. So I felt like him choosing Freddy meant something because everybody knew it was Freddy's. Ryan was next, and the tattoo she happened to choose was Bobby's. Everybody thought that his tattoo was John's and John's was Bobby's, which is important in a second. So she chooses Bobby. She's very excited. DJ chooses John, and he makes a big speech about how it's not the one with the most transformation, even though that's why we were here today, and chooses John. I think this is BS. 100% DJ. No. DJ, even last season, DJ was known for being a little scummy with this kind of stuff. He likes to play things when it's convenient for him. Everybody thought Bobby's tattoo was John's and John's tattoo was Bobby's. So when Ryan got Bobby, by process of elimination, DJ knows that that is John's tattoo. And so then blind judging goes out the window because he knows exactly who he's choosing and why. And he's not doing it based off of the challenge. He's not doing it based off of what was supposed to be done today. He chooses John because he wants John. And it irritated the crap out of me because it's so obvious. And as a result, the bottom four who have to face off, bottom five. I think I said bottom four earlier too. Sorry, whatever. The bottom people who have to tattoo are Charlene, Brian, David, Sydney, and Jozzy. Why is Sydney there? I'll tell you why Sydney is there. Even though she did an actual transforming tattoo, she has to be there because DJ decided to just choose John, even though he didn't do the prompt. But I'm going to go right into the face-off critiques because we're running out of time. So for the face-off tattoos, the safe competitors who are already on a team got to choose what the bottom contestants have to tattoo. And they chose a Japanese tiger. Doesn't have to be necessarily a Japanese traditional tattoo, but it has to be a Japanese tiger. So up first was Charlene's, which was so cool. I loved it. I thought it was great. She had nothing to worry about, clearly. This was great. Then we had Brian's, and I gotta say, I didn't think it was bad. For the first time, I felt like he actually really swung pretty hard with this one. It's not bad. That being said, it's a face-off tattoo. He did what he always does. He just tried to do a very clean, safe tattoo just to get by. It's all his whole thing is just about getting to the next round and doing the minimum to get there without any creativity. Then we had David's. No, he really fumbled this one. And a lot of his illustrative skills that he can pull out in some of his other stuff, he didn't showcase here. I don't know what he was doing. He says he didn't know why he was doing it. So this was sad. Then we had Sydney's, which was really cool. I loved it just as much as Charlene's. I thought this was so dope. Good for Sydney. Sydney didn't deserve to be there. And then we had Jazzy's. And I gotta say, I mean, in terms of contrast and what the idea for this tattoo was, I like it. But it did clearly fall apart. This is not Jazzy's day. So the judges have to choose. Now it's no longer blind, but they get to choose another person to join their team. DJ chooses first because he chose last the last round. So then Ryan would choose, and then Nico would choose last. And then when we get to the bottom two, whoever stays automatically goes to Team DJ because he had the most people on the team, I guess. I don't know. This seems like a weird amount of people to do the shuffling of the teams with, but whatever. So DJ chose first. He chose Sydney, and I think that's correct. She didn't deserve to be in the bottom anyway. She smashed that tattoo. Good for her. Ryan then chooses Brian. What? I mean, I get it. She probably doesn't want to work with Jazzy anymore because Jazzy has been pretty difficult. But between Brian and David, I don't know. I guess maybe she's just being fair and she's looking at the tattoo we got. And so maybe between the tattoos today, maybe that is how it should have gone. But it just still felt really surprising to me, especially when you have DJ who's allowed to just be like, well, they didn't do what we asked them to do. But so anyway, the bottom two end up being, I forgot Nico. So Nico chooses Charlene as expected. And I think that's correct too. And the bottom two end up being Jazzy and David. And so the judges vote like they normally do. And I mean, to nobody's surprise, probably between the two, we do say goodbye to David. Although I'm tempted to send Jazzy home just for how she's been doing thus far and how her attitude is. And between the two, I agree. I mean, it probably should have been David today. So that's what happened in the 2 episodes. Now let's see how it impacted things. Let's go to the scoreboard. So, tattoo of the day. For episode 4, Bobby snatched his second tattoo of the day. Episode 5 technically did not have one. Again, I would give it to Freddie, but technically we didn't do one, so I'm not declaring it on this list. That being said, let's take a look at everybody's track record. Now, here is where I did give Freddie an extra point, because again, I do think that one, everybody on the panel seemed to be in agreement that he did an actual transforming tattoo and that he did it perfectly. And Nico, knowing it was Freddie, purposely chose Freddie first and got him out of the hot water immediately. I do think that's worth noting. So I gave him 1 bonus point. And how does the track record now translate into rankings? We have clear rankings. So everybody was very middle ground last time we chatted. Now everybody's got a clear spot. So pulling ahead into first is Bobby. 2 tattoo of the days under his belt. Not too far behind him though is Freddie in second place. And John has now secured his spot as one of the top contenders in the competition as well, right in third place. Charlene also isn't too far behind either. She is in 4th place. Somehow, I can't believe this is happening, but Brian is still here and he's in 5th place. Sydney and Jazzy, though, now having identical track records, which is wild because Sydney is typically so strong. But she seems to be really fumbling now a little bit and she's tumbled down the ladder. So she and Jazzy are tied for 6th place. And of course, David now coming in 8th after being eliminated in episode 5. Jenna coming in 9th after being eliminated in episode 4. And of course, all of the people we said goodbye to already. Coral in 10th, Glenn in 11th, Jessica in 12th, Dave in 13th, Aaron in 14th, and Joelle in 15th. So real quick, again, I want to give a shout out to these No More Ink interviews. Go check them out. Coral's is up now. Hers was really informative. She talked, about her creative process. She also talked about a project she does in New York called Ink Tensions, which is about her and some colleagues using tattooing to heal people with trauma. So they use it in conjunction with like a therapeutic exercise, which is really interesting and also super cool. Coral is just awesome. Go check out her interview. It was actually really good. David's was up also, and it was nice to actually see some of his other work because of the pressure cooker of Ink Master, it's not always the best representation of what they really could do with all the time in the world. And so his stuff is actually really phenomenal as well. So go check that out. What's interesting is David's No More Ink episode was up for episode 5, but Jenna's was not up for episode 4. And I don't know if it initially had gone up and was for some reason taken down or what, but it doesn't seem like Jenna is too happy with Ryan based on how things went down in her elimination. She did her own YouTube video talking about her elimination. She gave a little bit of info about, how things went down with those skull picks and, how she threw a bone to Jazzy a little bit and that probably shot herself in the foot. And then she mentioned taking some of Ryan's advice for the tattoo. And then it ended up being hated while critiquing, especially by DJ, who ripped it apart. So she felt like listening to Ryan's feedback a little bit got her in hot water, which may happen. I mean, the coaches are also coaching based on their own kind of styles and interpretations of it. It's not a guarantee it'll be loved if you follow their advice. But she did confirm that she was a little taken aback that Ryan sent her home. And not that Ryan should be like saving her friends or anything like that, but and I felt this way too watching the episode. It truly seemed like Ryan was critiquing others, like Sydney's, for example, much more harshly. So then when she just voted Jenna off, it was very shocking. So I agree with her a little bit. So I'm also wondering if maybe she just, for some reason, didn't film one, like a No More Ink interview with her, or what happened there. I feel like there's behind the scenes tea back there that I'm needing someone to spill. And she also mentioned that she almost didn't initially choose Ryan as her coach. She was going to choose Nico, but she chose Ryan because they had collaborated before and she thought it would be easier to be comfortable with her as a coach, and she felt like she could really trust that Ryan give her solid advice. So she was a little let down by Ryan. Interesting. But anyways, that's how things shake out right now. Again, I'm going to go back to doing these every week, I promise. Give me a little while to get episode 6 out, and then I'm caught up, and then I promise every week from here on out. Let me know who you're rooting for, who you think is going to take it. I want to know it all. Let me know in the comments below. And at the very least, maybe give me a like. And if you haven't done it already, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on anything I put out on my ongoing coverage of Ink Master Season 15. And with all of that being said, thank you guys so much. I love doing these with you. I love the Ink Master fandom. It's phenomenal. It's great. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time for some more Shop Talk.